This is probably our last fishing trip of the year. We drove to Meeker and got on the White River mid-afternoonish, kind of. I started out looking at the water. It's still running pretty darn high again. That's where I need to wade across it, and made a few casts in between, but nothing going on until we got down a little further. Here I'm on the riffle that was so good in August. I must have touched a dozen fish here in August. This time, you're going to look at the one fish that I did land, and it's not much of a fish. Probably about a 12, 14-inch rainbow. So better than nothing, but not great anyway. I worked my way downstream and started fishing my way back up, and shortly along the bank got lucky and hooked a very nice rainbow, which is this fish right here. I was using a stimulator on top, not a big one, and trailing it with a little stone type of fly. This one took the stimulator because he was laying right by the bank. It was a really, really nice fish, but I could have used a few more of these today, but didn't fight too much. The water's very cold. Temperatures have been really cold up there, but it was fun to get a release like this, and had a wish if we'd had more of these, the trip would have been a whole lot better. But an awfully nice fish, big and fat and happy, and we were happy to get him on a good release shortly. But that was about it. I caught a few others, but none of them were of insignificance at all. The quality of the fishing on the White has deteriorated substantially from when we first started fishing here, maybe 25 years or so ago. A lot of large fish used to get swept downstream. Unfortunately, that's not happening anymore, but we still like the river. We drove up to the Bel Air area and got the dogs out of the car, walked them downstream, and got started on one of these little kind of artificially structured pools that I think the Department of Wildlife has made in several places along the river. Did hook a couple fish, and then finally hooked a nice one down here that went downstream like nobody's business. Not a real big fish, but boy, was he tough. I don't know why they want to run downstream like steelhead, but so many of them do on this particular stream. Happily, this one did finally come in, and I was able to get a release here too. But again, it wasn't terrific fishing here, so we're going to be glad the season's over. I did end up walking upstream for maybe a quarter mile and fished pretty darn hard. Little nymphing, a little bit of surface fly fishing, and had very, very little success. A couple of strikes and no releases. So we made a nice camp at a spot that we've been before in Bel Air. These are the quaking aspens overhead. It was really blowing this day. The dogs are happy to be here. They're happy to be out of the car, and we're happy to get them some free time. It was very cold the next morning, and since I only wet wade, I hate waders, we decided to walk around Lake Avery and see if we could pick up anything that's popping to the surface out there. There really was not very much. I'd make a cast if I saw a dimple somewhere near me, and it's boring fishing, but sometimes we get very successful with this, and this was not one of them. So right after that, I went down and did do a little bit of wet wading on the catch and keep water rather. It was unsuccessful too. These are the spikes that I use on my wading shoes. They keep me from falling in the water. They're snowshoe spikes, but they work well. The dogs are happy to be heading home. They've had a long day and haven't had much sleep.